Yes, sir. That's buttery, boy. Alright, so color grading. The color grading is pretty important. You don't color grade, your shots look like this off of a R6 camera. And this looks pretty lame. But this looks pretty cool. Today I'm going to show you my workflow when I color grade. And it should only take like 5 minutes. That's my goal. Let's go. Alright, so first things first, you open up Premiere, you get whatever shot you want to use. Let's go with this bad boy. Click on the track and we go to color, the color workspace. If this isn't already showing already, you click over here and you can select it from here. Premiere changed their stuff a while ago. I don't know why they did. No one asked for it, but anyways, first thing you go over here, you go to this panel over here, you click on Lumetri Sculpt, and then you would go to presets, projector, UAV, blah, 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 blah. You click on that. You want to go to waveform type and go to Luma. And basically, a short description of what this means, this is basically like showing the light colors and like the light levels and how dark certain parts are and how bright certain parts are. 100 is really, really, really bright and white. 0 is pretty, really, really dark and black. Oh yeah, I know. And this basically goes over like the color, like the actual colors in the shot. And if you have them balanced together, that means you have even level color in your shot for white balance. First things first, you see how it says 0 and 100 here? The goal normally, I want to get these, like this shape thingy as close to 0 as possible and close to 100 as possible, but without touching. And it's not going to always do that in every single shot you have. Like this one's already pretty dark and there's already a lot of blacks in the shot, so it's already pretty low. Hey, this is Moses in the past here. I made a oopsie. So normally when I color grade, I go down here and right click, I go to new item and I do adjustment layer. And I drag this on top of my footage, extend it as far as it needs to be. And basically I put all the effects on this. That way I can immediately turn it off and on to see stuff. And also it's not just immediately affecting the clips and I can just control this better, move it around, cut it if I need to, stuff like that. Alright, back to the video. So with that said, you adjust that by changing things in here. So I would see this first, I would be like, okay, this entire thing's pretty low right now, so let's move this up a little bit. It's exposure, not too much though, because exposure is kind of, don't want to do too much. So I'd say like 0.7 is already a lot, so we'll stop right there. And since we're already closer exposed to more like darks and blacks and stuff, I'd start going with the highlights and whites first when I'm color grading. So let's try adjusting that. I'd say a little bit of that. And the way I do it is I kind of play a tug of war. I'll put some highlights up a little bit, see how it looks. I'll put some shadows down a little bit, see how it looks. And then back and forth, basically. So I put the highlights up, then let's put the shadows down a little bit. Yeah, I'd say, okay, what about the whites now? Now we can definitely get some blacks in, try to get as close to 0 as possible, but not too close. Right there, we can get the shadows down a little bit. And as you'll notice, as I'm moving the blacks, the very bottom of the shape moves. I move the shadows, the middle of the shape moves. And same thing for highlights and whites. So that you can use that to gauge like how the shape's gonna move and how close it gets to 0 and 100. So I'd say we can probably get a little bit more blacks in, probably get a little bit more shadows in, and definitely have more room for highlights. If there's ever, so I'm shooting on the R6 camera, the C-Log's pretty good. Normally, whatever your footage is, it's not always going to be as muted and as compact as it was here. That's why I have enough room to go to 100. If you do ever go to 100, you can add another Lumetri color to it, and you can just add more highlights and shadows, or highlights or whites, whatever you need basically. And since this is from the R6 and it was muted, I can add some saturation to it. So now the mutedness already takes away some of it. So a bit of that, not too much though. Alright, next I'm going to go down to curves. This is basically the same thing as this, but in a straight line, and you can kind of interpolate it differently. So now instead of it being a straight thing that happens, there's more, you can make it more dynamic by adding like a S-shaped curve to it, like this. Yes, sir. And that's already looking pretty good. If you want to compare it how it looked before, click on this little thing right here, and boom, that's already significantly different. There's this thing called HSL secondary, my favorite tool when I'm color grading. So if you select midtones of this, and then normally midtones are like skin colors, and like that's in that area of what midtones normally will be. If you use this dropper tool to select your skin tone here, like so, and then click on this little box, you'll notice that it selects some of it, but not really. You can add more of the plus one and try to get more of a better range. But let's see here. So you get to like a decent area where some of it's selected, you can start going a little more specific by changing these little arrows right here. It's not a set way for me that I do. I just kind of mess around with it for real. So. Yeah, that's the good stuff. That's kind of terrifying. Nah, okay, that's the good stuff. After you got your subject and whatever you're trying to select pretty nicely selected, you invert it. And now you notice that everything except for the midtones, the skin tones have been selected. You're probably wondering like, why are you even doing this in the first place? I am about to show you. So before I even get to that though, I add some denoise and some blur so it's more soft and not as noticeable. Basically in cinematography when you're editing and for color schemes, it's nice when you have this like this contrast of teals and oranges. It just looks nice together, basically. I can't really tell you why. I'm not a color theorist, but I just know that looking at it, I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty buttery. So we're gonna basically do that in Premiere. All it takes is clicking this little thingy right here and dragging it down. Oh, you can get rid of this, by the way, clicking the check mark. So drag it down, and we see that the background slowly starts changing, and now it's definitely different than it was before. Depending on what your shot looks like and how much colors you already have in it, you can put this pretty low, or you can just barely touch it. It really depends on your shot. But always, the golden rule though is to color grade in a way where it's subtle, where it looks like it's nice and buttery and juicy looking, but it's not like noticeable. If you have a noticeable color grade, that means your audience is like, oh, they definitely color graded that kind of weird, huh? Okay. Man, I swear to God, I hate this. Man, it's ruining my video, bro. Stop ruining my video. But yeah, I can pull it down over here, and let's just see how it looks before and after so far already. As you can see, pretty good. For doing something quick like that, I'd say that's not bad. You can take your time with your edits, and you have to speed run it. But this is my general workflow of things and how I normally would do it. Oh, something I forgot to mention, if your shot's already not really white balanced properly, there's actually a tool you can use a dropper tool you can use to select something white in your shot, and it'll try to automatically adjust the white balance for you. You might have to do it like multiple times just to get like a good color, but this can also help if you already didn't white balance your shot.